Hey everyone, it is Coach Cara, and today we're going to be doing a winter arrangement. The star of the show are going to be these beautiful velvet magnolia. You can see they got a little bling to them. So to get started, we are going to prep our container. So I have some dry foam, and I have one of these foam knives, and these seem dull, but they're not. I cut myself with them recently, and it did not feel good. So we are in a dangerous profession, people. You know that if you're working with a glue pot. So what I want to do is just kind of get a general measurement. Sure, it doesn't have to be exact. And because of shipping and knowing that it's going to kind of get jostled around, I just like to put a little bit of fabric down. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a whole bunch of glue on the bottom. And then I'm just taking some burlap. You could use any type of fabric. And this might just be totally over the top anyways and unnecessary. It just helps me sleep better at night. I just like doing this because I feel like it gives the block something extra to kind of grip to, so that if it does get jostled around, it doesn't just kind of like pop out of the container. So what I'm doing is I'm gluing the fabric to the container. And now I'm gonna add glue on top of the fabric or ribbon. And then I'm going to glue the block to that. And hold that down. And then since I have these little extra pieces, never make that noise sound good, I'm just going to add them in too. It's not going to hurt. A little bit of extra security, having everything kind of nice and snug. And oh my gosh, can I tell you how much I love not only this glue gun, I swapped it up after so many years, but using these glue ropes. Love, love, love. All right. So let's just give that a second to dry, but this is what the inside of the container looks like. Okay, so it's okay to have gaps. That is fine. And while I'm working, I'm gonna have this nice lightweight Lazy Susan, and that way I can keep pivoting and spinning to make sure that everything's nicely balanced. And to start, we are going to work with our greenery. All right, so let me see if this pulls apart. Okay, it does to a certain degree. Because the stem is so thick. Let's see. Could I have checked this before I started? Yes. Did I? No. All right. Trying to see what makes the most sense. If I should cut it all up or leave it in chunks. Let's try this the second way and just cut it to 2 pieces. All right, I'm just gonna keep this simple and just cut it up into 2 pieces aside from this. And I am using my glue pot. Okay, got my glue nice and heated up. All right, start on one side. Kind of at an angle. Okay. Just pop that off. My biggest fear is come alive. I just put too much pressure on that with this thick stem. Give this a little bit more time to dry, and I have to be a little bit more delicate than I typically am. So yeah, I mean the stem is pretty thick. So when I went to bend it, it just was too much. My mistake. My mistake. Make sure we're good before we proceed. So this time I'm gonna bend it before putting it in, and that way I don't, again, make the same mistake. So this is very malleable, so I'm just gonna dip this in. And you can, you can glue as you go, or you can wait until the end and glue. Or for me, like if this is for my home, I don't glue because every season I end up changing it up. So that way I'm not, having to be married to, whatever the materials are. I can repurpose them. I can, restyle them. But this is going to like a festival of trees type of thing. So we are gluing. Again, we're going to give this a nice bend. So we want this to just fall. This is giving me like Three Stooges vibes. I don't know what it is. But it is. I'm just adding a lot of glue. I just don't like the way that popped off in the first place. Just want to make sure we're good. Okay. And maybe something with a stem this thick, maybe that is a big part of the problem. It's too heavy for a dry foam block. We shall see. All right. So right now, like when I'm designing, I kind of think of things in 4 quadrants. Okay. So right now we're just laying that groundwork down of, the 4 sections. And then I always like to have one that is right in the middle. So this is establishing, can't talk, how wide in general our design's going to be, and then how tall it's going to be. So these aren't hard, fast rules. Of course, we can, change it as we go, and, the design, however it leads us. But it's just a nice guide as to the parameters that we're going to be designing within. So, let me see. I know I've been complaining that this chair is down to 2 screws. It is now down to 1, so I am like living on the edge every time I get on this. So, I'm not mad that I'm getting off of it at this point. All right, so let's go in with our magnolia because these girls are big. All right, these are some big blooming ladies. All right, and I think we're going to be using 5. But we'll see, because again, they do take up a lot of space. So these are from the David Christopher collection. Again, he is my guy this year. All right. And so I want to give it a nice little bend. I don't want everything just kind of like straight up and down. Okay, that's good because that's UPS, and it is 6:30, and I was afraid they weren't doing their pickup. If you use a third-party shipper, like I use ShipStation, they do pickups for free. And just sometimes like they show up super early and I'm not ready, but like I was afraid that they missed me. But that dog bark is a clear indicator that they have not forgotten me. So I'm sorry because it's probably super annoying to you guys, but I'm just glad because there was a lot of orders going out today because it is a Monday here in my world. All right. here is our first. That is going to be the tallest. Okay, and now this is kind of like when we go into the quadrants. Okay, so we have all of these gaps. Okay, like, yep. And so we're going to fill those. Again, we're just going to give like a nice gentle bend. So we want our materials to work for us. And, you know, these things are very malleable. If you should damage something, you know, we are crafty people. You will be able to repair it. I'm sure of it. You know, whether or not it's going to be exactly the same as it was, maybe not, but I don't really think anybody's going to notice. So you will be able to wire things back together, or, you know, put them on a floral pick or whatever it is. You'll be able to fix it. So don't be afraid to manipulate your materials so that it serves the design that you are aiming for. Probably like, why does she not have bark collars on these dogs or train them not to bark? All right, so I like to do everything mirrored. So even though I know I'm going to go into like kind of those 4 quadrants, I still want to just make sure I'm going back and forth, which is why I love the Lazy Susan. So I'm going to go on the opposite side. And actually, I'm going to go a little bit lower than I did on the side. So that means I need to trim this. And this is also why sometimes it's nice to just not glue until the end. Okay, now we're going to do the other 2 sides. Nice little bend. Actually, why don't I kind of size these up together. All my petals nice and pretty, like so. Give the head a little bend, and then go. All right, so right now we have a nice structure to it. Okay, we have our one in the middle, and then again we have a section of each, so we have 4 sections. This kind of reminds me of like amaryllis, which I love around the holidays. I love seeing them grow. All right, so let's do some filler greenery. We're gonna do some filler greenery. We're gonna do, let's see, let's go in with a different type of filler. Okay, so we're gonna be using some of this. This is like a long needle pine. Okay, this is some of what I got from Jacobson's. This is wholesale. I think I was showing you guys this on a recent live. Okay, really happy with the quality. So let me see. It doesn't seem like one that you can just pull. Nope. Yes, I can. Hi, Bruno. Oh, Bruno. I know. I try and explain to you that people don't want dog fur anywhere near their stuff. I know. I know. And I don't want you near my glue pot. Go on. Go about your merry way. Bruno means a lot of things. You know, I think it means like protector. It means a bunch of things, but one of them is it means brown. And I'm like, he wants to be a UPS man. And someday I will get a UPS person to give me some type of uniform that he can have for Halloween. These are my life goals. These are the things I think about. Bruno is one. And he has hopped on the truck before. Go right into the back. Because even though he's big and he looks a little bit spooky, but he is just a big goofball. I'm just gonna prep 2 of these. I think I'm probably gonna leave out the pine cones. I'm sticking more with like the whimsical. See, now we're moving and grooving. Oh, see, I jinxed it. And I almost punched myself, or I think I kind of did. Nothing like a good self-punch to wake you up. All right, so we've got our long needle pine now. And I think it's always nice to just have a few different types of greenery. So when you're layering different types of greenery, it's nice because it just adds that visual interest. And, you know, I've talked about this before. It's like sometimes you can see something that's just very simple and plain. You kind of like give it a once over and then you move on. And then there are things that you look at that they're more complex. And so you kind of end up lingering, you know, like, because your brain needs time to process what it is that you're looking at. And so when we're designing, when we add different layers of texture, what it does is it kind of creates a reaction where people have to process what they're looking at. So it's not just like a one and done, you know, like I think about that, those hydrangea balls that HomeSense sells, that it's just those 3 balls that are hanging on a piece of ribbon. And I'm just like, there is nothing to that at all. I don't know why people buy it. I don't know why I see it on fancy homes. I'm like, there's nothing to it. There's nothing to process there. It's just something you throw on your door. As opposed to when you have something that's handmade and there's some really unique items on it, like those things really draw your attention and they grab your attention and you focus on it because you're processing all the things that you're looking at. You know, sometimes there's different types of artwork that you really, you know, engage in, you know, like that's why they have benches in front of certain exhibits because people end up like really wanting to absorb what it is that they're looking at. And so I like to always have a couple, usually it's like 3 different types of greenery. In the winter, that might be a little bit trickier. Actually, tonight we are going to have 3 types. Like for spring, I feel like it's so easy. For actually every other season, I think it's so easy. For winter, because it's pretty much different types of like pine. We might not always have 3, but for tonight, now that I think about it, we do have 3. All right, so again, I went into the 4 quadrants. And I don't want to overuse this because I like how soft the Norfolk pine is, the one that we used first, so I may have overprepped. So let's just put this aside for now. Overzealous. Okay. So let's go back in with our nice soft Norfolk pine. Fill some spots in. One. Now I'm going to go right to the other side. I'm sneaking this right under our floral blooms. And I always think it's nice to have some trailing greenery. It just creates a little bit of drama. Who doesn't love drama, right? I mean, this is the holiday piece. Can't be the holidays without the drama, right? now we're gonna go in, and I got some filler off of Amazon. And I know it's so hard to shop for anything floral on Amazon because it's so hard to tell like what is good quality and what's not. So I'm gonna say this is okay quality. This feels pretty plasticky, so I use this sparingly because it's nice and airy. It's cypress, but as far as using this a lot or having this predominantly be a greenery, I would not recommend it. But again, using it like sparingly just to create that airiness, I do like it for that. All right, so we're going to use a little bit of the cypress. And then another greenery that I got from them that I actually do recommend would be these pine stems. And I use these for workshops because there's zero prep involved. Sometimes, you know, how can I say it? Sometimes not having to spend an excessive amount of time prepping, it's okay to spend a little bit more money to save, like, you know, your hands and your wrists from doing all of these things to cut a million different things up. So for me, these are two items that I love, that they just come already prepped and I can just bundle them right up. So for the winter, these are my go-tos. Every year you learn a little bit more about how to make it easier, and you can work smarter, not harder. Because for me, my wrists and my hands, like if I have to overdo things, they get so achy. They get achy and they feel tired, and they don't like that. And I have one of those big, like I call it the chomp machine. I know that's not the right word, but the one that kind of cuts a whole bush of, you know, whether it's florals or greenery at once. But those cut at an angle, and I found out the hard way because I was using it I had just started using it for a workshop, and someone cut herself twice on stems, and I was like, that is so weird. I'm like, this person is so clumsy. And then I realized that it wasn't as much as it was lovely for me to blame her for getting hurt. What it was that machine, it uses the like weight it basically crushes things, and that's how it ends up cutting it. And when it does that, it actually cuts things at a diagonal cut. And so that was why she was getting cut, as opposed to it just being flat. So I couldn't use it anymore. So that meant I was back to cutting everything individually by hand. So yeah, I'm just going in with these guys. And these are also nice and soft. They have a nice lifelike color greenery to them as well. So these I would feel comfortable using a decent amount. It's just the cypress. They serve a purpose, but you wouldn't want them like front and center as your predominant green. Kind of like with luxury ribbon, it's like not everything needs to be like, you wouldn't make this big bow and then all the way in the back have this luxury ribbon that you can't even see. There'd be no point in that because people can't see it. You're not getting the value for it. You can't recognize the value for it. So it's okay to put something that's, you know, more of a value ribbon in the back, and then just put, you know, a smaller amount of that higher ticket ribbon in the front. Like that velvet and pearl ribbon, which I'm obsessed with. I keep looking up different colors. I don't know. I'm crushing on that stuff hardcore because I know that they have it in pink. I found out they have it in lavender. And I'm like, I need someone to do a psychological study on why we are so obsessed with ribbon, because it's like, it's a sickness, I swear. So one thing when you're designing, you know, I'm standing over this design, but realistically, if this is on someone's dining room table or something like that, they're going to be looking at it from a much different angle. So it is important to make sure that you're covering down here. I am going to end up putting moss on this at the end with floral pins, but we do want to make sure we don't have this big gap that, you know, you can see everything underneath. Like you can see all of the mechanics, you can see the foam block, you know, that we've left these ginormous gaps in material. So I'm just kind of covering my bases right now. I think we're looking pretty good. I wanted to add a little bit of ribbon to this. So we have some other components. We have some berries. We have, wow, that's really close to the camera. We have some berries. We have some bling, but I want to put the ribbons in first because I know that they are going to take up a decent amount of space. So what I thought for this, because we're going to be using some champagne fern, and we're going to be using some matching berries, so it's kind of like cherry red. I thought we would go with some, this is, was it gloss velvet? This isn't labeled. I'm pretty sure it's considered gloss velvet. And the backing is gold, but the front is champagne. And then this kind of like lattice, 1.5 inch. That I thought paired pretty well. It also picks up the same red that we see with our magnolia and on our berries. So I'm going to be wiring these to some floral picks. And I'm just going to be doing one loop. So nothing complicated. Again, I've talked about my girl Lindsay teaching me this trick. I was like, she makes the best ribbon loops. And she was like, it is not that hard. And then I was like, oh my gosh. She like unlocked the key, or she gave me the key. So let's see. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this now. Hold on, let me see if I have a different option. For some reason, now I'm not enjoying that like I thought I was going to do. Sorry guys, I swear I have white velvet somewhere. I think this is legit white velvet would be. First drop in the overflow room. Gosh, do I need to WD-40 that? Okay, yeah, that just didn't sit right with me, so sorry for being ill-prepared, but it just kind of looked yellowy to me, whereas this, I think, is going to just pop. I always feel like your initial instincts, if something looks off, just don't proceed, because it's just going to continue to nag at you. Why I didn't pick up on it before, I'm not exactly sure, but did not like it this time. So, all right, and this is kind of like a crushed. It's like a crushed velvet. This says crushed velvet, but I know what they mean. All right, so again, we are going to just be doing a simple one looper. Okay, and only one side really needs to have a nice tail on it because the other part is going to be in the back. So there's no need of wasting ribbon. It's gonna have to have a little bit of something, but in general. So. Take floral wire. I'm just gonna cinch these guys together. Yeah, definitely like this contrast better. Okay, and then I'm going to end up putting it on one of these 6-inch floral picks. Okay, so I'm going to just take the wire and I'm just going to wrap it all the way around until I run out of wire so it's nice and secure. Okay, and then for the tails, so this part's actually already prepped, so it has a nice pretty backside to it, so they just folded it over. And, well, actually this is kind of a little bit longer than it should be. So I'm just going to fold this over initially once and then twice so it's a nice smooth edge. And then for this one, I'm going to cut it up at an angle. All right, like so. And let me just repeat that so that we get the right measurements for the other two. Doesn't have to be perfect. We want it close, right? Okay. Check one more time before I wire this. I made so many tree toppers today. My hands are so sore. Ay, ay, ay. So very, very sore. Not complaining to have orders, but wish my hands did not get so arthritic. Alright, and then let's do this a third time. This time I'm going to cut the wire first because that's what I should have been doing all along. Okay. Oh wow, I made that tail way longer than the first one. Gives that a few extra rolls, I guess. So yes, this is going to be a donation to the town. And if you do donations, you want to make sure that you get some type of recognition, because even though, you know, you're a small business in your town, people don't always realize that you're there, no matter how much you're pushing on, you know, Facebook or with friends and family and your neighbors and all that stuff. So what I would recommend doing is that if you donate a wreath, you know, have your business card attached. Like maybe, you know, if you have like a loop on your wreath, you know, take your business card, punch a hole in it, and attach it to there. And also, whoever you're giving it to, give them a small stack of business cards that you would like to have put out where your wreath is being displayed. And then if you're doing an arrangement, have one of those floral picks out and then have your business card there. And I give two so that it's back to back, so both sides say, you know, like Enchanted Vine, so you kind of can't miss it. And then also I give a small stack of business cards because, you know, you want to kind of create some brand awareness, because people want to support local, but sometimes it's just, you know, you think about how hard it is for any company to get their name out, let alone when we're, you know, a party of one. So you want to make sure that although your reasoning for supporting a charity is, you know, altruistic, you know, you do also want to get a little bit of, you know, you want to generate a little bit of brand awareness from it as well. It's a great opportunity to do that. So yeah, you can go like on Amazon and get those floral picks, you know, like the ones that at a florist, like that you would put, you know, your get well card or your thank you card in. Always be on the lookout for opportunities. And also, if somebody asks you to do a donation and maybe it doesn't make sense, it's also okay to say no. You know, we can't say yes to everybody, because sometimes when we say yes to something, we might be saying no to ourselves or our business. So, you know, we have to take that into consideration too. And I know that's hard. I know I struggle with that stuff. I'm in the business of like wanting people to be happy and feel good, and I really don't like saying no to people, but sometimes it's just, you know, you also want to make sure that you're taking care of your business. And if, you know, giving stuff away at a time where it's just not right for you, then it's not right for you. That's okay. You don't have to say yes to everything. When it's a better time for you, you can make it up to people. All right, so we have our 3 loops. So put these last 2 on the floral picks. Don't you love when I just throw like a TED Talk out of nowhere? And this is why I can't remember what I said 30 seconds ago, because I ramble. I'm a rambler. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled program. So I am going to kind of now visualize this as like 3 different segments, if that makes sense. So I am going to go here, have it draping over. So we have these beautiful tails just trailing down. Making sure it's only the pretty tails, not the back side of them. So actually I'm gonna trim these. These guys aren't invited, but they're hanging forward. So that's our first one. What do we think? Jeez, it's so close. Everything looks so big. Maybe we can lower it a little bit too. All right. One. I almost just did the, well, I'm probably gonna do it now. You know, the count from Sesame Street, like one, but I'm doing it anyway, so I'm being just as foolish as I feared. As I feared I would. All right. Just like when I say, oh, I'm afraid to do this in videos, and then I demonstrate exactly what it is I'm afraid I'm doing. It's like just as bad. Okay. Second one in. Cute, cute. Very happy with the white versus what I had picked. So thank you guys. Let me sneak off. This needs to be more over here. Or you know what? I think I'm gonna make 4. Now that I'm looking at it. All right. Sorry to have you sit through one more, but let me just whip one up real quick. I think because these flowers are just so big, it just really does create such a separation of the sections. Sometimes I feel like you can get away with switching it up and just doing 3 of something. These magnolias said, not today, honey. Not today. Last one. Fold our tail. My OCD feels better. Okay, so let's see. This thing looks ginormous. I have to back it away from you guys. It's like the Godzilla of arrangements, which I know I'm a more is more girl, but I don't think it is actually that big. All right, so cute. I could actually see this very much for Valentine's Day. And of course, I'll just balance these out because one of these guys, oh, it's you. It's you. All right. I'll mess with that a little bit later. All right, so let's go in with our berries. Then we're gonna do our bling and see where we have any holes. And so, let me see, do I wanna leave the pine cones on? Yeah, I'm gonna leave them on. They're not gonna hurt anything. So I am just gonna give us a little bit of a fluff. We want to get the most out of our materials. So instead of them just kind of laying flat, you know, they're all nicely wired. I believe. I do want to make sure I'm careful not to drop the glue on it. First one in. I'm gonna grab the fourth because I know I'm gonna be in the same predicament. And if you're using a glue pot and all of a sudden you start noticing like a lot of excess glue strings, so for me, when I turn my glue pot on, I turn it on high. And then if I feel like it's getting too hot or I see like any signs of like it starting to smoke, I turn it down. But at some point it might start to get too cool. So like when you see a lot of glue strings, that's a sign that it's not hot enough. Okay, because Surebonder is good. They are amongst the leaders in having the least amount of glue strings. Nobody has no glue strings, but they have the least amount. So right now I just realized that it's kind of getting too thick when I'm using it, so I gotta hike up that temperature a bit. It is nice, like when you get to know your products, then you get to know how they work and what you need to do with them. And I know someone was recently saying that they switched from using, what was it, Gorilla Glue, which was my go-to for my glue gun, but they were using Gorilla Glue sticks in their glue pot, and they switched to the Surebonder pellets, and someone in their family actually commented that like it didn't smell like chemicals in the basement anymore, because everything has like a way of working with each other. So that's a good thing, because who knows if Gorilla Glue sticks are supposed to be like heated up in a certain manner. I mean, I have no idea. I think they work great in a glue gun, but I don't know if they're supposed to be in a glue pan. And I don't know why they don't make, honestly, like, I don't know why they don't make glue pellets. Because they do make good products. Because I have searched for them many a time. As I'm doing this, there are a lot of leaves on here, and it is taking over my center magnolia. So I am going to just trim these down. They're cute, but we don't need that many. Let's give this a little haircut here. We are starting to shine, right? And some of these pine cones are in the way. I feel like there is an excessive amount of pine cones on materials in the wintertime, so when they're in the way, just snip them off. And yes, you can put them aside if you want. Or for me, I just find at some point, I just have way too many, and I just have to just kind of let some go. But they can kind of interfere with designs at times. All right, and let's bring on some bling. For this, I only have 3, so I am going to make this work. So these are from Hobby Lobby, so they must be from last year. And I'm gonna just give them a nice bend, spread them out the best I can, so we can get the most out of them. And yeah, I wanted to add a little festive flair. I was gonna go totally natural, like I had these like natural looking red magnolia, and then I was like, it's Christmas. Let's get festive, shall we? So, there we go. And I'm just gonna take these branches and I'm just gonna sneak them around things. They don't all have to stay together. You can move them around. See this pine cone. I'm cutting you off. I don't like you. Okay, so the top of the fern is here, but then if you can see, and I have to fix my petals, but I also then, it's so weird working opposite, but it's also over here. I'm botching this so bad. It's over here, and then it's over here-ish somewhere. You know what I'm, oh my gosh. It's like Bizarro World. Oh, it's down here. So you can see, like, I took one stem and it went from the top to the bottom. Lord forgive me. I'm trying, guys, I promise. All right, so I'm gonna repeat that. Oh, I'm trying. All right, so let's do that 2 more times. And again, let's get the most bang for our buck by really dragging it down. And before I start, I am gonna cut off these pine cones because I know they're gonna bug me. And now they're hiding. Because they know. They know I'm on the hunt. Again, same thing. Let's give it a nice bend. Go and weave this through all of your other materials. Just getting a little bit of our sparkle all throughout. We can just zhuzh up our magnolia bloom. Go. One more left. So this is why I didn't go to Hobby Lobby this year, because I could not control myself. This is so pretty. I'm a weak woman, and I know it. I'm a weak woman that can't afford to be weak. Just avoided it altogether. Someone was telling me, okay, so let me see. The date today is November 24th. Someone was just saying they still have a lot of fall stuff out. And I'm like, how is that possible? I'm surprised they don't have like Easter out. They're always like crazy ahead. But they must have gotten hung with a lot of leftover merchandise. Again, still campaigning to Thanksgiving. I want my fall celebrated again. Sad when it gets skipped for Halloween. All right. UPS, that might be a burglar. I'm kidding. There she is. All right, so let me take her off of this. See, hopefully she doesn't look so, like, I feel like she looks so big at that angle. It was nice because she made me look small, but really, she is not that big, and I'm not that small. All right, so I am gonna do a little bit of zhuzhing, but here is our wintry velvet magnolia wreath. All right, she's got a little bit of sparkle going on. She's got some beautiful winter greens. We have our ribbons, and she is ready for the Southern New Hampshire, what is it? Tree Festival tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you soon.